for whatever reason, Christianity is the one religion that you're allowed to disparage.
Sure, it's gotten a bad rap. People do feel free to beat up on it.
All these progressive, open-minded, leftist people, they'll embrace all these different religions until it comes to Christianity.
Well, let's just say it. Mel Gibson is a trip. He's been very, very public about his Christian Catholic beliefs, but years ago he had a very public fall that damaged his reputation pretty significantly. But some good friends in the industry helped him get back to a degree, and now he's out in public again pretty regularly, and this included a talk with Joe Rogan recently, and they hit on a couple super interesting things. Now, I'm Brett, and I've been a pastor a long time, and that's relevant for today's cultural discussion as Gibson and Rogan talk about the resistance to his movie, The Passion of the Christ, back in the day. So here at One Life, we enjoy engaging in cultural conversations with those who believe and those who don't, so if that sounds like you, please hit like and subscribe. But now, listen to the resistance to The Passion of the Christ.
That was a crazy movie because it was a great movie, but it seemed like there was resistance to that movie.
Oh, yeah. No, there was...
which I thought was very strange. There was like Hollywood resistance to that movie. Like people didn't like that you were making it, it seemed like.
Yeah, there was a lot of opposition to it. And I don't know. I think if you ever hit on that subject matter, you're going to get people going because...
Of course.
It's big subject matter, and it's like... and my contention is, when I was making it, it was like, you're making this film, and the idea was that we're all responsible for this, that his sacrifice was for all mankind, and that for all our ills and all the things in our fallen nature, it was a redemption. So, and I believe that, I actually am. I was born into a Catholic family. I'm very Christian in my beliefs, So I do actually believe this stuff to the full. So depicting that was an honor, but it was also, you got the daylights beat out of you for it.
Yeah, because there's resistance, first of all, from secular Hollywood, where for whatever reason, Christianity is the one religion that you're allowed to disparage.
Yeah.
Christianity is the one religion where people... all these progressive, open-minded, leftist people, they'll embrace all these different religions until it comes to Christianity.
And it's great to ask the question, why would that be? That's a great discussion all by itself of why is that? Because we all know that's pretty much true.
For whatever reason, that represents like white male, whatever it represents, colonialism, whatever it represents, it's negative.
Yeah, sure. It's gotten a bad rap, and people do feel free to beat up on it.
Mm-hmm.
Even I do when I see it's like, when it's not fair, or I think it's off.
Right.
Like...
Well, and that's a very important thing to think through as well, because first of all, from inside the Christian world, I feel free to be critical. I think one of the reasons that Christians and innately non-Christians do, they know that the leader of it said, love your enemies. And so he kind of invites that even if you do criticize it, there's not going to be a lot of backlash on principle. But going back to this whole thing of the resistance to the movie, it does help that I've been a pastor a long time. It was released in 2004. And I remember very, very clearly, so much so that I got to go to a screening that was done for pastors where Mel Gibson was actually present in the room. And we got to watch the whole thing before it was released in theaters and all that. And I remember all the controversy was to the point of distraction. I remember wondering, because it was all the discussion, it was in magazine covers and all that sort of thing. And I think, for one, Joe Rogan's point is well taken. People feel free to beat up on it as opposed to Islam or something like that in a popular culture way. And I think one of the reasons for that is because it is the default belief system of the United States of America. It's the one that's the most popular. And so we kind of feel free to be critical of something that we feel more familiar with. But when it comes to the resistance to Mel Gibson himself, is you have to understand what kind of person he was. He was at the top levels that you can get, like Ryan Reynolds or Leonardo DiCaprio or someone like that. He was a very, very well-known person. In 1996, and won 5 Academy Awards for his work in Braveheart, including Best Director, and it was the best film. He was at the top of that industry, and so I think people innately knew that this guy making a movie about this subject matter, one, it's going to put it at a whole different level on the discussion side, but also everybody intuitively knew he knows how to make a movie. It wasn't like the traditional kind of Christian, not so great movies at all. They knew he was going to make something powerful coming from someone that knows how the art form works. And that was my instinct at the time. It's like everybody knew, man, this thing, if he's dealing with this subject, it's going to be something else. And by the way, if you've never seen Passion of the Christ, you need to, because he does handle it that way and is amazing in that. But then he finally gets to this whole point. The movie illustrates a very, very unpopular idea that we all need to come to grips with, is that the Christian worldview is that we all need a savior, that we're all morally flawed. And one of the things I like about Mel Gibson, he's very open about the fact that he's very flawed, and just says, listen, the more I live, the longer I live, I'm realizing I need a savior. I need someone to do for me what I cannot do for myself. And that's what the Passion of the Christ is about. That's what the gospel is all about. I need to receive something that I cannot pay for, I cannot earn. And I hope we'll take those things to heart, because I think that's the heart of the resistance. Is it's telling me that I'm not nearly as morally good as I might perceive myself as being. On the other side, when it comes to the art thing, we did make a video about why is Christian art often in modern day not the greatest sometimes. I think there's philosophical reasons for that. I invite you to check that out. Hope that helps. See you next time.